Hello. Today I would like to introduce you to TA mode. What does TA stand for? TA is short for timed adaptive. It's a ventilation mode that analyzes the patient's spontaneous breathing pattern and simulates that pattern in controlled ventilation. What is the primary objective of ventilation for cases of respiratory insufficiency? The primary objective is unloading the respiratory pump. That is, the work of breathing should be done by the ventilator as much as possible. The greatest degree of unloading occurs in controlled ventilation modes. However, asynchrony often develops in these modes, leading to respiratory fighting and increased respiratory effort on the part of the patient. The choice of ventilation mode has a significant effect on the unloading of the respiratory pump and on the patient's compliance with therapy. In spontaneous breathing mode, the unloading of the respiratory pump tends to be low, but therapy compliance is high. A reverse relation is seen in controlled ventilation, with high unloading of the respiratory pump and low therapy compliance. What is the objective of TA mode? The objective of TA mode is combining high unloading of the respiratory pump with high therapy compliance. How can this objective be achieved? First, settings are made for IPAP, EPAP, target respiratory frequency, the degree of freedom of the frequency, and the underlying type of disease. That could be obstructive, restrictive, or normal. These settings have an effect on the pressure curve later during ventilation. When ventilation begins, the ventilator analyzes the patient's spontaneous breathing pattern. The analysis is made under CPAP over the course of 8 to 10 respiratory cycles. After the analysis, the ventilator imitates the spontaneous breathing pattern, using it in controlled ventilation mode. It's thus ensured that controlled ventilation is synchronized as closely as possible with the patient's spontaneous breathing pattern. If there's a significant change in the breathing pattern, for example when the patient changes position, the ventilator terminates controlled ventilation and returns to the analysis phase. The pattern obtained during the renewed analysis is then used as the basis for controlled ventilation. Here is a brief summary of the advantages of TA mode. TA mode permits controlled ventilation based on the patient's spontaneous breathing pattern. The work of breathing is reduced to almost nothing. Hospital staff can save time and money as the parameters are automatically titrated anew when the patient's breathing pattern changes. You can find more information at weinmann.de.